Most homes stay put. Asteroids do not. Near-Earth objects cross our neighborhood with orbits that can be useful or catastrophic depending on your plan. Some visionaries talk about hollowed rocks, spin gravity, and mining towns that cruise the solar system. The pitch is intoxicating. Resources without a planetary well, movable industry, and habitats shielded by meters of native rock. This is Second Skies on the Quantum Files. Episode 4 separates the mobile real estate dream from the engineering bill. Delta V, dust, cohesion, and the fact that a rock does not care about your business model. A world that moves changes insurance, law, and rescue math in ways fixed surfaces hide. That is the sky this episode scores. Not weather, but orbital mechanics wearing a hard hat. Motion is the sky here. Black, vacuum-sharp, and indifferent to property lines. Asteroids force a mental shift. Your address is an orbital element set, not a latitude line. Insurance, law, and rescue all lag that shift. Second Skies scores the lag as part of the sky's price. Near-Earth asteroids revisit on human timescales, which makes them feel like neighbors until you run the rendezvous numbers. That emotional nearness is part of the sales pitch Second Skies dissects. Asteroids offer metals, water ice in some classes, and the possibility of using excavated mass as radiation shielding. Spinning a habitat can create artificial gravity without a planet. A successful operation could relocate materials to cislunar space cheaper than lifting everything from Earth. That is the economic sky. Not atmosphere, but access. Compared with Mars, you skip thin air landing theater. Compared with Venus, you skip acid. Compared with Titan, you skip years of cruise. The trade is that you inherit microgravity operations, uncertain interiors, and no thick air to catch mistakes. Delta V budgets decide whether an asteroid is a neighbor or a myth. Not every rock is cheap to reach or cheap to return materials from. Trajectory design, launch windows, and processing location matter more than ore-grade headlines. Second Skies will keep economics tethered to orbital mechanics. Prospecting must distinguish metal-rich, carbonaceous, and icy classes with enough certainty to justify industrial mass. Wrong rock, wrong plant design. Legal regimes for resource extraction remain contested. Engineering episodes still must acknowledge that ownership fights can delay hardware. The vision of Asteroid Town sells freedom from gravity wells. The invoice lists rendezvous precision, spin stabilization, and decades of robotic survey before anyone sleeps inside the mine. Near-Earth objects change address on human timescales. That mobility can bring feedstock closer to construction sites, or threaten cities if orbits intersect Earth. Planetary defense and industrial use share survey data but diverge in politics. Second Skies keeps both truths on the table without turning every rock into either salvation or doom. Starship fuel depots in fiction often sit on asteroids. In engineering, they sit on spreadsheets first. Carbonaceous asteroids tempt water processors. Metallic ones tempt smelters. Each class implies a different Delta V map and a different failure mode when you anchor wrong. Industrial planners who mix classes in one slide confuse investors and engineers alike. The honest pitch starts with spectroscopy and ends with a processing flowsheet, not a skyline. Some near-Earth objects visit frequently enough to feel like neighbors until Delta V math says otherwise. Others are one-window wonders. Planners who treat all NEAs as interchangeable confuse Hollywood timing with TLE reality. Water in carbonaceous asteroids is not tap water in space. It is ice mixed with organics and voids, requiring ovens and chemistry before it becomes propellant or drink. The sky offers ingredients. The plant offers the bill. Science fiction loves empty caverns ready for cities. Many asteroids are rubble piles, gravitationally bound gravel with weak cohesion. Excavation can destabilize what little structure exists. Anchoring, sealing, and spinning such bodies are research problems, not catalog products. Even solid rock needs survey, robotics, and verification before humans trust a ceiling. Second Skies will not narrate a hollow asteroid as if it were a furnished apartment. The unlock is characterization first. What is actually inside, and what fails when you push. Rubble pile bodies can shed material when spun or excavated. Cohesion may come from weak van der Waals forces and gravitational binding, not bedrock. Anchoring thrusters, habitats, and centrifuges onto gravel is a research frontier. Characterization missions are the real unlock before architecture porn. Anchoring in microgravity uses harpoons, drills, or peripheral grips that can fail if the surface is fluff. Testing anchors is as important as testing thrusters. Dust mitigation needs airflow, adhesion control, and maintenance time. Microgravity makes every grain a persistent actor. Hayabusa and OSIRIS-REx returned grains, not apartment keys. Those samples taught us that some bodies are collections of pebbles pretending to be mountains. Architecture must respect that humility or pay in sudden voids. Radar tomography and seismic tricks from orbit can hint at interior structure. But humans trust caves only after robots map them. A hollow that collapses in spin testing is cheaper than a hollow that collapses with crew inside. The honest near-term product is a catalog of what not to mine with people nearby. Itokawa taught Rubble. Bennu taught Rubble. Consistency is a message planners should not ignore. Spin-up of a rubble body is not spin-up of a cylinder in a gym. Mass shifts as you rotate. Voids open. Pebbles migrate. Free-flying habitats built from processed regolith sidestep some of that risk by not trusting the native structure as load-bearing. Shielding mass bolted outside a spun tin can may be the midterm compromise between hollow dreams and gravel reality. Bennu's surface behaved like a ball pit under OSIRIS-REx touch and go. That single observation should end half the Hollow City art online. Characterize, then architect, never the reverse. Sealing a cavity in rubble is like waterproofing a gravel bag. Liners, foams, and robotic compaction each have test programs. None have decades of flight heritage. Hollow City art skips the liner budget every time. Artificial gravity by rotation brings Coriolis effects, docking complexity, and structural loads. Dust in microgravity becomes a contamination and abrasion nightmare without wind to settle it the way Mars dust at least partly does. Medical unknowns remain for long stays. Emergency abort may mean a small craft and a long wait. Asteroid skies are black and sharp. There's no weather to hide under and no thick air to glide on. Artificial gravity by rotation is seductive and tricky. Human vestibular systems dislike certain spin rates. Docking to a spinning habitat is non-trivial. Structural failure modes are unforgiving. Microgravity dust infiltrates seals and lungs without weather to help. Asteroid skies are clean only in the vacuum sense. Processing water into propellant near an asteroid can support cislunar traffic if the orbital math closes. If it does not, the resource stays scenic. Navigation near small bodies includes weak gravity and irregular shapes. Autonomous guidance earns trust the hard way. Bone loss and fluid shifts do not pause because the view is novel. Crew rotation schedules, exercise hardware, and surgical contingency plans must assume Earth is hours or days away, not a HAB module next door. The black sky offers no horizon comfort, only geometry and math. EVA on a rubble pile is less walking and more three-dimensional climbing with tethers. A misjudged push sends you into a slow tumble only a jetpack fixes. Training for that environment resembles offshore oil work more than desert camping. Except the ocean is vacuum and the rig is moving. Coriolis in a spun habitat is not nausea trivia. It is layout law for toilets, labs, and sleep racks. Long-duration microgravity medicine still has open questions for Mars-class missions. Asteroid-class missions add dust exposure without planetary magnetic fields or atmospheres to slow grains. Radiation shielding using local rock helps if the rock stays put when you drill. Medical evacuation timelines measured in weeks change the ethics of who sleeps where. Spin rates for artificial gravity trade comfort against engineering simplicity. Too fast and Coriolis makes walking feel drunk. Too slow and you need longer habitats for the same effect. Asteroid-mounted spins add the Rubble variable. Free flyers add docking complexity. There is no spin setting that deletes the Rubble problem. Exercise hardware for microgravity is bulky. Spin gravity reduces some needs but adds structural mass. Asteroid missions pay either way. They do not pay with atmosphere or magnetic fields to help. Asteroids score high on potential resources and shielding mass if you can use the rock. They score low on heritage, crew abort options, and public intuition. They also create a unique second skies metric. Mobility. A habitat that can change heliocentric neighborhood is a different geopolitical object than a flag on Mars. That excitement must be paid for in navigation precision and industrial discipline. Mining without settlement may be the honest near-term path. Living inside the mine is mid-term at best. Scorecard: high potential shielding mass and resources if usable. Low heritage, weak abort. Strong industrial mobility story, weak near-term crew living case. Mining robots may be the honest decade. People sleeping in hollow rocks is mid to speculative. Crewed visits imply radiation shelters, abort craft, and medical plans with long waits. Short sorties may be wiser than towns for decades. Industrial mobility means a node can relocate, but relocation costs propellant and risk. Mobility is not free motion. A factory that changes heliocentric address is a new kind of strategic asset. Exciting for planners, terrifying for insurers. Second Skies scores that duality instead of selling motion as magic. Versus Mars, asteroids win orbital flexibility, lose surface familiarity and public narrative. Versus the Moon, asteroids win feedstock diversity in some classes, lose continuous sunlight and established landing zones. Versus Titan, asteroids win calendar proximity for some objects, lose atmosphere entirely. The scoreboard stays per axis. Mobility scores high for industry and low for bedtime stories. Both scores are real. Crude sorties to asteroids may look like Apollo nostalgia, short, sharp, expensive. That may be the only honest human chapter for decades. Towns inside rocks remain mid-term fiction until anchors and spin tests graduate from lab to flight. Score accordingly. Planetary defense missions and mining missions share catalogs of near-Earth objects but diverge on intent. A rock nudged for safety is not automatically a rock ready for habitation. Second Skies keeps defense and industry in separate sentences, so neither borrows credibility from the other. Returning processed metal to cislunar space only wins if re-entry and capture costs beat launching from Earth. Spreadsheet wins are sky wins. Spreadsheet losses are why many asteroid towns stay fictional. Mobility without reliable anchors is motion without trust. Second Skies scores trust as part of the asteroid sky, not just ore grades and delta V. Near term, prospecting, sample returns, and robotic mining demos. Mid-term, processing plants and temporary crew visits. Speculative, spun hollow habitats and cruising towns. The viewer hook is the question under the CGI. Do we want homes that move, or factories that never ask people to sleep in the cargo? Spin habitats can be free-flying rather than asteroid-mounted, using asteroid materials as shielding mass without trusting the rubble as structure. That hybrid may be more realistic than hollowing a potato. The honest near-term product is information and samples. The mid-term product is materials delivered to cislunar space. The speculative product is residence. If your second sky must stay still to feel safe, asteroids may never be your home. And that is a valid personal score, not a failure of imagination. Programs like DART proved we can nudge orbits with purpose. Industrial planners ask whether similar mechanics could move resources. The physics sometimes allows it. The economics rarely forgives casual tries. Second Skies labels orbit changes as industrial or defensive, not as commute options. Speculative cruising towns need insurance products that do not exist yet. That is a schedule risk too. Sample return missions already deliver the science product without sleeping bags. Processing demos in cislunar space may follow. Residence is the last layer, not the first. Second Skies keeps that order visible so viewers do not confuse ore with home. Temporary crew visits for repair and oversight may precede any permanent residence. Those visits still require abort craft, radiation shelters, and anchor confidence. Short does not mean casual when the sky is vacuum and the ground is gravel. Consortium mining models may split risk across nations and firms before anyone sleeps inside processed rock. The sky allows mobility. Contracts may forbid it. Read the sky and the fine print. Next time, we travel farther to Titan, where the air is thick, the lakes are methane, and flying might be the easy part.